Attempts from Remainers to thwart Brexit appear to have been foiled as former French Ambassador Pierre Sellel warned Emmanuel Macron will veto requests for a further extension to the withdrawal process. A Remain alliance in Parliament earlier this week succeeded in defeating Boris Johnson to allow a bill through the Commons which would force the Prime Minister to request a new Brexit extension. But former French Ambassador to the European Union Pierre Sellel dashed hopes of Remainers as he warned President Emmanuel Macron is likely to veto such appeal. Speaking to BBC Radio 4's Today programme, Mr. Sellel said, "To decide a new postponement, you suppose a certain level of trust. Maybe what is missing today is this trust about the way your country sees its future with the Union. In this regard, I think the situation has been deteriorating and, with such an ambiguity, it is very difficult to have the necessary trust which could justify a new examination of a new date." President Macron emerged as a vocal opponent to extending the withdrawal process, insisting the UK would have to give a clear reason for a further delay. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn last month reached out to other opposition leaders to seek their support in the event of a vote of no confidence against the Prime Minister, asking they back him to form a temporary government. But Mr. Sellel dismissed suggestion a new British Prime Minister could succeed where predecessors failed, claiming substance still lacked from alternative proposals to the current withdrawal agreement. He continued, "We know what is possible and not legally, politically if you want to meet the two main objectives of the negotiations, which were to organise as smooth as possible Brexit, respecting principles of EU law, and preserving the situation in Ireland to preserve the Good Friday agreements. It's not a question of personality, it's a question of substance." French EU Affairs Minister Amélie de Montchalin this week also voiced her skepticism at the prospect of a new extension as she questioned what MPs could achieve in 6 months that has not been achieved in 3 years of talks. Mrs. de Montchalin said, "When I hear the British saying give us 3 months more and we will solve the problem, we can see that another 6 months would not solve the problem, nor another 3 months. They have to be able to tell us what they want. We know what they don't want but we are still struggling to understand what they do want." The Prime Minister insisted there has been significant progress in talks with the European Union as the British government seeks to have Brussels accept demands to remove the Irish backstop from the withdrawal agreement. Brexiteers have voiced concerns the policy, which was originally designed to avoid the return of hard border on the Isle of Ireland, could be used to keep the UK closely aligned to the single market and the customs union. Despite attempts to force the government into asking for a new extension, Mr. Johnson insisted he would rather be dead in a ditch than further delaying Brexit. Speaking at a press conference in Yorkshire, the Prime Minister said, "I'd rather be dead in a ditch. It costs £1 billion a month to remain in the European Union beyond the 31st of October. It achieves absolutely nothing. What on earth is the point in further delay? It is totally pointless." He added, "There are some people suggesting we should spend £1 billion more a month just to stay in the EU beyond the 31st of October. But I don't think that would be good use of public money and I'm going to make sure we don't have that necessary delay. I will do everything I possibly can to ensure this country comes out of the EU on the 31st of October. Mr. Johnson again insisted he does not want a general election to take place, but admitted he can't see any other way. The Prime Minister also said the victory for Rebel MPs on the no-deal Brexit bill effectively scuppers our negotiating power with Brussels and would hand back control of the UK's exit from the bloc to Brussels.